Hey everyone, this is Uri for Guerrilla Poker, and in this video I'm gonna fulfill one of the requests I've gotten several times to make a live play video at low to mid stakes, showing a bit of my philosophy and approach kind of in action. So that's what we're gonna have in this video. Now, before I start out, I want to say a few things. So my approach to poker is generally a very adaptive approach, where I try to play a different strategy against every different player. The issue with this is that you need to know the players and the player pool that you're playing against. And when I go to a lower mid-stakes player pool, these aren't player pools I've played in recent years very often, so I have to be making a lot of guesses unless I start putting a lot of volume in. So I want to outline my initial approach, which is what I would recommend you guys take as well when you're playing these stakes, and we'll kind of wing it from there as we go along and learn about our opponents. Number one is people will still make fundamental mistakes. By people I mean regulars. Of course recreationals will always make fundamental mistakes, but low to mid stakes, the level of play of the professionals is still one where they're just kind of leaking randomly. So I don't want to be too strict in my assumptions regarding what people's ranges are. People can be a bit random with stuff, take the wrong sizings, take the wrong lines. So I'm just gonna, not make very strong assumptions without knowing a player. There are three important things in my eyes to be making money at low to mid stakes. Number one is to put a lot of your attention on recreational players. This is where the bulk of your win rate should be coming from. So you want to plan ahead, be creative, notice their tendencies and kind of gain a lot of experience. Don't be shy, don't be afraid. There's lots of hand reading and inducing and tons of really creative stuff you can do. Definitely don't play GTO or anything close to that against recreational players. Other than that, these are kind of rules of thumb. Folding is good and attacking weakness is good. These tend to be common themes in low to mid stakes where most players don't bluff enough and don't call enough. So when in doubt, fold, and when in doubt, bluff are kind of guidelines that I think are useful for these stakes. Okay, so all that out of the way, let's start the live play section. So I've loaded up 3 fast fold tables of 1-2. Hopefully the pace is going to be okay, and I'm not going to be able to explain everything, but feel free to ask me about any play in the comments. Here, BVB, when it goes check from out of position, this is a really cool spot to think about the principles where in theory, ace-9 should sometimes stab, sometimes check back, but I expect people to be checking a bit too weak, so we'll deviate to a strategy of just stabbing more often, and then just play our hand strength, where the hand is going to be just a one-and-done stab, and then try to show down. So not really looking to do anything else. And yeah, when villain makes a large river bet, again, I'm just kind of keeping things simple. So ace-9 could potentially beat some bluffs. We're not really looking to call or bluff catch very much unless the situation is very specific for it. So kind of the checking range is too weak, we'll stab a lot. He called, we try to show down when he bets. I don't expect him to have enough bluffs. And yeah, unfortunately I can't comment about kind of everything I'm doing, but I'll say that again, for these stakes you don't have to worry too much about flop bet sizing until you know people. So you can go with a let's range bet flop small kind of strategy, which is what I'm doing here with 9s. Definitely not the optimal sizing. Here I'll open queen 10 because small blind is a bit short stacked, and here we'll try to show down 9s. Here checked around. Again, I think it's fair to assume everyone's checking ranges are too weak and start value betting ace-9 straight away. Nines, yeah, I think another hand that's kind of close. Here we're just gonna bluff on this good card for us. We'll value bet here, and yeah, hands close, it probably is a fold. And here with queen 10, decent spot, again, where at equilibrium it's somewhat close. But this is actually a decent spot to just rip it in and expect people not to make the bluff catches that they're supposed to be making. So yeah, a lot of my plays are kind of based on knowing, you're supposed to triple off queen 10 at some low frequency there. And I know what the other guy's supposed to call, but like I said, for you guys, you don't need to know everything. It's more like, rule of thumb, most of the players at these stakes are not going to be capable of making the calls that they're supposed to make. And we can just end it there. Don't need to think about it too much deeper than that. Of course, you don't want to be showing the queen 10. Deuces should actually fold under the gun, I think, at this rake structure. But not important. You can of course open it. It's not a very important decision. But I'm gonna kind of stress this over and over again. What we're looking to do is get into nice spots against recreationals, bluff people non-stop, and not really worry too much about bluff catching or balance. I think this is a good baseline strategy when you enter a low to mid stakes player pool. Jacks, I think, okay to just check back. Nice turn, and here on the turn, this is another spot where I would expect villain to be under bluffing. So if I have something kind of weak medium strength, I would certainly be looking to fold it. And here I'm just gonna start piling in money, which is the only thing that my hand really wants to do. And not really expecting this spot to go really well. If I had a bluff, I'd expect it to go well. Mainly expecting folds. Like I said, it's kind of how I expect the spots to play. Here we can try to show down ace 8. And here with jacks on the river is a question of how exploitative do you want to get. And I have this habit of I'm going to bet even if I think the spot's good to bluff, I'm going to bet my value bets and my bluffs kind of the same sizing. I think this becomes reasonable to bluff at this point. So even if I think he's overfolding, I want some semblance. I won't call it balance so much as deception. I don't want to bluff big and value bet small, because if anyone ever catches on to that, I lose out on a lot of money. So frequencies might be tilted one way or the other in various spots, but the sizings won't give that away, and I think that's fairly important. Kind of metaphysical concepts, but yeah, I think in a short live play video where we're not talking about any subjects in a super organized way, no, playing hands technically correct is anyone who's watched the Red Line course knows we talk about fundamental mistakes and frequency mistakes, and had I bet jacks smaller on the river, that would actually be a fundamental mistake. I'm not looking to make those. I'm looking to tilt my frequencies. Here, for what it's worth, villain's bet size is actually incorrect for a flush coming in. Bottom left. So this is just a pre-flop spot. There's not too much to it, but there is a bit of something special going on. I'll flat the ace king. And the special thing that's going on is that most people play with pre-flop charts, and those are for 100 deep, and this one is actually 110 deep. So that's like the special thing. Here I'll check back. He gets to range bet this board, so I'm not really gonna be looking to stab a lot there. We'll kind of wait and see what he does, just in case he's bluffing. Gives him another chance to bluff. Of course, maybe he's not bluffing, he just has, I don't know, queens, kings, something like that. Maybe he has aces. We'll see soon. Yeah, have to call. Here, I assume I'm just chopping with ace-king. And here I want to throw in a small value bet with sevens. I kind of dislike his line because I think it's a bit too obvious. And here with King Jack I'm actually a bit confused. Why am I out of position? Feels like maybe this all-in god guy, did he 3-bet me or call my 3-bet? It's not too important. I'll check to him anyway. Now just a question of how to play King Jack. King Jack is strong enough to stack off at these stack sizes. And I just want, like, to ensure maximum chance of him putting in money weak. So check min raise does induce some spew from recreationals, which I can assume given his stack size is more likely. And then after inducing, I'm just kind of in turtle mode of you know, please bluff it off, giving him the opportunity to do that. Still checking the river, giving him the opportunity to bluff off if he wants. And you guys can see that the induce kind of worked in that he put in, you know, more money than he should with pocket threes. But unfortunately wasn't able to get his full stack. Here splash pot, I'm assuming the strategy should just be to limp a lot from early positions. And King 10 here, all of these spots are kind of mixed spots, so King actually doesn't always bet the turn. You could go either way. Depends how you think people are going to play, and then bet the river. I think limp shove King Queen suited against this size ISO. There's no real cold calling. I think I'm forced to shove, and the hand should be good enough. Let's run it twice. Never run it once, always 2 or 3. And yeah, how to play King Queen here is kind of a metagame decision. I don't have the experience to do anything other than the standard pre-flop play, which is going to be to limp shove there. But potentially other things could be better. Here Jack 6 rainbow, really dry board. That does favor me as the out of position player, and these boards are really interesting to study. Let's just go bet check bet, maybe give up, we'll see. I'm kind of losing track of hands, but you guys can see the bet check bet with Queen 8 is kind of the principle of just kind of going for it. Here with a flush and a straight coming in, I think Ace 10 just calls, and threes I'm definitely gonna keep firing. Never winning on this kind of board, and like I said, rule of thumb is bluff. I think bluff is a good rule of thumb. If you can't win, bluff. In any kind of reasonable spot. And I mean bluff against weakness, not bluff if the other guy 2x pots the river. You don't need to bluff raise. But yeah, bluff catching is kind of difficult and a skill a lot of guys at these stakes don't have, and for good reason, because most people don't bluff enough. So if you're playing correctly, you should be perceived as extremely aggro fairly fast. If there is interest in how to seriously play an L200, I can do like a more serious study of how to play these stakes than what I'm currently doing, and make a course about that potentially. I think my win rate at these stakes was always 8 BB per 100 or so, but that was a long time ago. Wouldn't be sure what it would be these days. Yeah, here with deuces, just have to hope. Just have to hope something happens. I can't really make anything happen unless these guys hit or decide to bluff. So I'm just kind of giving them the chance. Maybe they want a bluff raise, maybe something else. And here the bottom table. Kind of interesting run out, and this is where the technical aspects of being very aware and very focused on what's going on are important. So when it comes king-king, he's going to have a lot of king x. That's a very natural hand to play like this. See, bet small, check back turn. So if I bet river, I can bet an ace small or a flush huge. That's actually not a spot where I get to put a ton of money in, so I don't think I need to be bluffing a hand like deuces. Yeah, whether or not to bluff catch, different question. So generally I'd say, don't bluff catch too much. But some of these spots, and these are again spots that I talk about in a bet check bet game. At h3 we need to think, is this worth a bet or not? I would tend to say yes against most people. So yeah, this is a kind of spot that is okay. Looks like I timed out. But as you're more aware of the dynamics in those spots, you can actually make some of those bluff catches. Here king 9 has to call flop. And I will wind down the video because it's just a YouTube video, and if you guys like this, maybe we do a Twitch stream sometime, or I can make some more of these. We can edit them for highlights, or do the entire thing with more talking. Well, whatever you guys like is fine. Yeah, here on the turn again, king 9 falls, but generally, don't be shy about folding. The main thing that should be going through your head is, my opponents are not bluffing me as much as they should, so folding is fine. Right? Maybe he bluffed me, maybe not, but as a rule of thumb, these stakes people will not be bluffing as much as they need to. So we want to default to folding with anything marginal. Again, without information. As time goes on, we'll get information on the players, and then we'll know, maybe against some guys we don't want to fold, and I'm sure some of these guys are bluffing too much, but kind of rule of thumb, without knowing the guys, just gonna look to fold. Okay, let's end here. One last hand. Pot open a button for fun. Pot opening button is a suboptimal size. I think optimal size is going to be 2.5 to 2.75x. But the EV difference is fairly small, and this is something people don't know how to play against. As evidenced by example for this 3-bet, which is just way too small, allowing me to call it with 7-8 of hearts. This board, which is 7-8 of hearts, has a decent amount of backdoors. We make backdoor straights on 6 and 9 and backdoor hearts. So hand's actually fairly strong. And yeah, I think it is a reasonable candidate to just bet, but we'll wait for the turn. We'll wait for the turn. Bit suspicious to see someone checking a board this dry. I don't know this guy though. Like any information, had we played a lot, I'd have a much better idea of how to play the spot. Here another spot where, double check range, I just expect it to kind of be too weak. So just start piling money and putting pressure on a range that's probably a bunch of ace kings, ace queens, or pocket tens. Pocket tens would make a lot of sense to play this way. Okay, so when he does call the turn, my pocket tens, I made a big turn bet. My pocket 10 sensors are tingling a bit. Of course it could be 8s or ace 9, like there are various hands. I'm not shocked at all if he snap calls 10s, but no, we end up getting the fold. generally the advice I'd like to give you guys is you can expect your opponents to make mistakes. So the general approach is like, you're coming there, you're chill, you're calm. These aren't fight to the death stakes. There's often a misconception, because when you're playing poker, you're kind of moving up the stakes, and every stake you reach is tougher than the last one, and definitely people are trying their hardest. But NL 200, NL 500, not really stakes where you need to be too worried about defensive poker. You're not really getting attacked. You just kind of sit there, try to play solid, lean towards folding and bluffing, focus on recreationals, kind of like a calm, chill style. It's not a battle to the death. It's not overly dramatic. I mean, sure, it's poker. You'll catch people doing crazy stuff, but generally chill, calm, solid, folding versus continued aggression, attacking weakness, focusing on recreationals, and of course building reads against your opponents and their strategies, kind of figuring out what are the good spots to give up to attack against specific players. Player profiling is a really big thing at these stakes, because people will fall into kind of extreme categories that can be really easy to adjust to, but that's a subject for a different video. Hope you guys enjoyed the short live play. Check out our website. We have a course about how to improve your redline. You guys saw a bit of redline play here, and a few of the concepts were talked about in short, but definitely I go more in depth in the course. And the first chapter of the course, which talks about fundamental mistakes and frequency mistakes, is actually free on our website. You just need to sign up. Either way, if you like the video, please like and subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you next time.